Exodus is shaping up to be the ultimate sci-fi action RPG. We got a brand new trailer and tons of information to get through, including new gameplay, more on companions, romances, enemies, bosses, and much more. So let me show you why I'm so excited. Here we see June, your main character, who can be customized to male or female, with Emrys and Salt. Salt is an awakened octopus. Awakened are earth animals engineered with human levels of intelligence. Just look how badass this thing is. Salt became a merciless bounty hunter thanks to her mech suit. Rolling around, blasting enemies, her rifle seems to be slow firing but powerful, suiting a stealthy playstyle the devs mentioned she can lean into. Apparently Salt's great if you like comedic relief, so I'm thinking Shale from Dragon Age Origins, though I could be wrong.
Pigeon crap.
Salt can become a member of your crew as equal as any human, maybe even more so, though octopi aren't known for playing nice in teams. Also, you cannot romance Salt, but apparently you can romance a lot of your other companions. I'd like to formally apologize to the Deep.
What the fuck?
It's not what it looks like.
If you enjoy trying out interesting characters on your team, or want to see how stealthy an octopus in a mech suit can be, Salt's your girl.
That's me, baby.
This is an Imperial Knight. These are the most talented crowned celestial warriors in the cluster. When adorning their mech armor, your only option is to flee or fight insanely dirty and clever, as they have access to the most advanced and powerful technology. On the tabletop, there isn't an enemy stronger, and seeing how you have to face one of these down, seemingly with only your squad of 2 companions, no doubt is going to be a tough son of a bitch. It can fire twin plasma cannons, jump slam the ground, and grab you, all the while being surprisingly nimble. But just like the Awakened Bear, you can activate finishing move like attacks on them. I'm going to go ahead and say the big red glowing head is the weak point. Now, the devs mentioned that they embrace the Nintendo aspect of boss fights. You'll be introduced to the boss, then they'll have sort of phases. The first phase will teach you the ropes, the next will mix things up, then the final phase will be like a final exam where you'll have to use all you've learnt. So, like the Shadow Broker fight in Mass Effect 2, the animations might be phase transitions. We've seen June fight the Awakened Bear already, but yet again, he chooses to go toe-to-toe in melee range with a bear that's been supersized with human level intelligence. It doesn't seem smart at all, even with a Livestone melee strike and blade. It does seem like a much earlier boss fight than the Imperial Knight. Elise is next, and she's for those who want a less than subtle mech option. She brings incredible firepower to the battlefield with dual miniguns, grenades from her shoulder-mounted launchers, and for an ultimate ability, she fires a micro-missile barrage that lights up the battlefield like fireworks. Doesn't this look fantastic? She's a former gang member and sleeper from Earth, so expect someone that's not so light on the trigger and not so quick to trust.
Well, that's terrifying.
Elise and Salt both don't play nice in teams. However, it's the opposite with Awakened Canines. Here we see an Awakened Wolf, which leads me to believe we might be getting one for our crew, and if we're lucky, one we can take on missions with us. It seems this wolf is with you from the start, as in this scene, your character talks about wanting to escape a life of salvaging scraps.
Salvaging scraps, just to get by.
And the wolf is behind him like a loyal friend. June is also preparing 2 bowls, potentially for them both. Come on, the devs wouldn't miss an opportunity to let you pat the dog, so it has to be part of your dynasty at the very least. Speaking of, I'm going to risk sounding like an idiot to check if you're subscribed. If not, no worries, but I hear subscribing makes you 19% sexier. Alright, moving on. We know that Matthew McConaughey plays a character called CC Orlev.
Who are you? I'm a friend.
Who will be your guide and mentor throughout the game. Well, we finally get our first look at him here, and you can see that he's human, or at the very least, human adjacent. We know that Celestials are quite a bit taller after all. CC's dressed like a cowboy and has what looks to be an acoustic guitar. Maybe he functions as a kind of bard character in your party? Remember, the devs have ties to D&D, being that the game was published by Wizards of the Coast, and that there already is an Exodus tabletop campaign book out. The devs state that CC Orlev will impart wisdom to June, and he's also a voice of the people. His background is mysterious though, and it's unlikely he'll be a companion you can bring with you into combat. Another companion is this lady. Now, I don't know a lot about women, but it seems to be upset. Men, this would not be the appropriate time to flirt with her. Wait, what was she doing on her knees? Okay, so on the game's official website, we see what looks to be her silhouette next to Emrys and Salt. This means she can be brought with us to combat situations, though this also confirms that this silhouette does not feature all of our acquirable companions, as we've seen more in gameplay. For example, Drone Girl coming up soon.
Quickly jumping in, I'm actually in my hotel room after the Game Awards, and I've noticed that the website has been updated. That means we know that there are certain combat companions and certain story companions. We know that Phaedra is the blonde girl that's coming up, and we also know the girl that you're seeing now will not be a combat companion. The combat companions are Tom Vargas, Elise Chirot, Salt the Octopus, Phaedra, and Suleiman. We also know that Cece Orlev and Emrys will be story companions. This means they won't be joining you in combat, but it doesn't mean they won't be joining you on your ship when you Exodus. We also know that the pretty brown girl will not be a combat companion, but she will be a story companion, and our awakened canine will be a story companion and won't be joining us in combat. At least we have that.
Our world is dying.
She or someone else is saying our world is dying, and she continues to talk as if you're Leiden's potential savior. We see her again very close to June, right before we see another companion enter. It's a Diva Celestial. Rewind and we see his ship badly damaged and crashing. Out comes Emrys. Diva Celestials live nomadic lives, traveling the stars to learn from and impart knowledge on those they deem worthy. Emrys grabs your arm and says,
Child of Orion, fulfill the purpose for which you were crafted.
We know that June was made of celestial and human mixing and therefore can interact with celestial tech. His purpose is to save humanity, so perhaps this Diva Celestial wants to see that through as well. It's unclear where Emrys has directed June here, but we know that manipulating the Life Stone has some major significance, given of course the cinematic nature of it. Maybe Emrys helps June awaken his Gauntlet. This is what the official website has to say about Emrys. He's ageless, enigmatic, and claiming allegiance to the Elohim. A wanderer marked by countless regrets, he moves through the universe as a reclusive musician. Emrys takes on the role of patient mentor, guiding his select companions with a rare attentive fondness. He sounds like a lot of fun, almost the antithesis to Javik in Mass Effect 3.
It's stupidity.
But is this a second bard in the party? Here we see what looks to be people within the Aslan Dynasty. I forgot to mention your name is June Asland. So people within the Aslan Dynasty are there to make thy will be done while you're off on Exodus. The people we know here are Elise and Tom Vargas, who can both accompany you on missions, so there's no reason to think the others can't as well. There's a pretty tan girl to the right, and there's some kind of Elvis looking dude next to her. Next to June is what looks to be a child, though it's hard to tell with the hood. We'll zoom in momentarily. It's hard to say what these people will be doing in game, though we haven't seen them accompanying June into battle yet, so they could be simple NPCs you visit when home. Due to time dilation, you'll probably return home to them having aged. I really hope we can bring along Hourglass here, because I'm not keen on returning home to her looking like Abysarala.
Everybody gets a blowjob.
Now, it would make sense to have a child in your dynasty, as when you make choices with what civilization should do with the remnants you find and bring back, your dynasty will make sure it happens while you're gone. If you're gone a while, that child will be grown, and it'll be interesting to see just exactly how they develop based on your choices. Wait, the little girl doesn't look so little here. She may be your sister, as she's clearly a Uranic as well. I mean, she may also have celestial DNA as well. I welcome any theories. Now, I already mentioned Tom Vargas. He was the first companion revealed.
Damn, kid. No pressure there.
A merc that was experimented on and had to leave the love of his life behind to lead Celestials away from her. Time dilation meant returning home to where she had passed away from old age and become a legend. This was a fantastic cinematic experience that trumps many movies in only a few minutes. Regardless, Tom's a human and you get him early. Here he is with Elise, and compared to Octopi, Celestials, and Mechs, it's hard to imagine many will take him with them, considering a limited 2 crew slots on missions. The devs say he teaches June the ropes of being a traveler. In combat, he's a generalist and has a bunch of, apparently, cool gadgets. Finally, we see a proper glimpse at what I've been calling Drone Girl. though she may be Phaedra as well. When the devs mentioned the name and how she experiments with science, they stopped before they revealed too much. The fact she has an egg on her back in other bits of gameplay that launches into the drone behind her leads me to believe it's more likely that this is the science-focused Phaedra. There's some weirdness going on with her face though, not gonna lie. Drew Capitian has said that relationships can be advantageous based on building your traveler's dynasty, so we might put up with weird for a good outcome. Maybe he's talking children, who knows, but it is clear that she can be brought with you on missions. It was also mentioned that the devs want you to feel like your companions are a part of your loadout, so you can customize them and yourself to have synergies and combos. You can also build your character to lean into using companions, almost like it's a leadership build. There is said to be plenty of RPG progression systems. Also, time dilation plays a part. How you meet them and how you end with them can be drastically different. This obviously means those you leave behind will age and potentially will change drastically as well. Now, I mentioned romance, but you can romance most of the characters shown. You'll be able to play the field and jump around on them. You'll have to work for it, but they can be pretty thirsty, says Drew Capitian. But it is a game of consequence, so you can get yourself in sticky situations where you'll need to make some choices. That's all I need to hear. Time to base all my choices on getting laid. Just like in real life. We don't fly too far from the flame, fellas. Now, this scene is familiar as they've shown snippets with multiple trailers. It's a celestial woman and her Ascendancy Predator drones. While it shows her on screen, CC Orlev says,
Celestials are the enemy of humanity.
I suspect the further you go in the storyline and the more tech you salvage to advance Leiden, the more attention you get from them, especially if you make choices that further civilization with technologies that paint us as a threat. Eventually, one technology will get the Crown Dominion's attention, or maybe even the Maruyama's attention. I digress, we get a different angle here and some different characters. I'll leave it up to you to work out who they are. Ascendancy drones are Crown's celestial made, but ghosts are relics of a war tens of thousands of years in the past by long extinct or vanished celestial races built with technology still not fully understood. They were deployed in the trillions across the galaxy, and you'll be fighting many of these that are still guarding ancient tech. Now, this is an interesting shot because we see a gas giant and a moon orbiting it from a platform in space. We could be on a ship, a wreckage, or even a space station or elevator. What it does point out is that there's gameplay taking place in hard vacuum. And we know there can be enemies waiting for you in the vacuum, like constructs and particular changelings, like the Veil, who are designed to primarily function within hard vacuum. Now, my assumption is that this gas giant is Galaris, and the planet is your home of Leiden. The main threat that pushes you forward is that Leiden is experiencing the Rot. It's a powerful technovirus that is breaking down or corrupting all tech on your planet, including the terraformers keeping everything running. So you need to set out to save everyone. There will be an antagonist as well, according to the devs, but they didn't want to spoil too much. All they hinted at was that this antagonist and Saren share a similarity in that they both don't think they're the bad guy. Now, I believe the previous shot was Leiden from orbit, mainly because of this establishing shot. In the next scene, we are on the ground in the city. Something must be happening because the sign on the side says evacuate immediately. We don't get a hint of what that is though, as it cuts to human-made constructs, one giving you a rather impressive pimp slap. June, you rascal, what were you up to? It seems to me that this is the start of the game, since your character's voiceover says,
I can't do this anymore. Salvaging scraps just to get by.
It then shows you breaching a wall and entering an area on Leiden. You can no doubt explore to discover tech that pushes the narrative forward. Perhaps your first ship. We will be spending time in the city before we acquire it. Now, we talked about Emrys helping you with the Gauntlet. Here it is, and combined with your heritage, it lets you manipulate the Lifestone. After what looks to be upgrading it Metroid style, you fight a Blade Ghost. Yes, that's their name. This fight there to seemingly let you try out the power you just acquired, shaping the Lifestone like an earth bender, slamming the ghost from below. The devs state you can fully lean into becoming a space wizard of sorts, and there are multiple progression avenues to do so. So if you like weird space magic like biotic powers in Mass Effect, it seems like this will be the build to try first. There's also a Lifestone upgrade called Shape, which allows you to manipulate Lifestone in the world, make cover, paths, and more. Here you can build a platform under yourself to reach the higher ground of this wrecked area in orbit around Leiden. You can upgrade yourself to traverse easier and can use items like the Rail Claw, which functions like a grappling hook. In this very Thor-like boss battle, we see June fighting what looks to be a Ghost Revenant or Ghost Maw, though it could be something else entirely, as it does look different to the encyclopedia. Let's just call it the Destroyer for now. Here's what appears to be June on the bridge of his ship, traveling through the gates of heaven, and based on his expression, we can assume it's the first time. Using a specialized drive, all molecules are locked into place, then the gate speeds you up to near light speed and shoots you along a path. Molecules are then locked again for the rapid deceleration, which we see here. Decelerization like this would normally vaporize anything. Take what happened to the Belter Slingshotter and times that by the speed of light. Oh no, I sent all the scientists to the comments, didn't I?
It's time to put a real scientist in charge.
This scene could very well be an area you've traveled through the gates to get to in order to find some remnant tech. It looks celestial in design and also abandoned. The narrator says alien world. Speaking of, this looks like a statue, but it moves like it's alive. You'll need to speculate in the comments what's going on here, but in the scene after, accompanied by Elise and Salt, you could very well be in the substructure of the area before. Now, the facial animations have been a bit weird at points, and I attribute that to being over a year away from release. But here,
Doing what I was made for.
you can definitely see the actor underneath June's polygons.
To protect it.
This is the difference between Andromeda and mocapping, and all about this. Now, we see a combat sequence in which June can summon a bridge with his Gauntlet using the aforementioned Livestone upgrade Shape. He then jumps out to reach the next section, most likely banking on the rail claw to get him over the last leg. Meanwhile, the enemies are being blown to bits by what I can assume is Elise and her grenades and micro missiles. This is entirely based on what we saw from her before. So this is a bit of artificial tension for the trailer's sake. There was probably no need to rush into the action like he did. Here we see an awakened orangutan or ape of some kind who is able to say, so June has clearly helped it in some way because apes together strong. Keep in mind that humans are now closer to apes than celestials. There are many weird creatures in the game called changelings, which are essentially your alien races, except they're not, they're of Earth origins. These are genetically engineered with organic or mechanical parts to suit a purpose for celestials. First are the Gath, not made for intelligence. These are loyal to the T and follow their celestials' orders with mostly unquestionable resolve. This has left them being exploited by all that get their hands on them, including humans. Be careful though, they were made for manual labor, so are incredibly strong. Another type of changeling are the Archivia, able to adapt to almost any environment. They are sent by the Celestials to mine resources on toxic or uninhabitable worlds. It takes the Archivia a painful while to adapt to a new environment, and they are often left there after the job is done. Naturally, this leaves them cautious of outsiders. This looks to me like a demon born of a silicate egg, which might be what we're seeing in front of us. When a celestial finds a silicate egg, it seems to just be a harmless stone. When a human touches it though, it bonds with them, often killing them outright. Sometimes though, a demon is born. With almost impervious skin and powerful muscles, they are a living weapon that the Celestials fear. No doubt this means that we'll run into one of these eggs and we'll need to make a choice whether to use it or not on our crew or ourselves, gaining a powerful demon crew member. But we could probably also do something else with it, I just don't know what that is right now, feel free to speculate below. Now what is known is you'll have access to a weapon that can reconfigure itself called the Recycler. We've seen it fire as an assault rifle as well as a grenade launcher, and it can consume junk and convert it to ammo. I just hope they don't make the Cycler your only weapon, though I fear it might be the case. Throughout the game you can get blueprints which change how it transforms, so that is a point of progression. It has 6 base modes and on top of that has some further modifications to those modes. This will steer how you want those modes to function. Space Train. Cinematic zero-G explosions on Space Train. More space, this time doing a Commander Shepard spacewalk across flimsy pylons. It doesn't look like this planet is doing so well. Perhaps an invasion or the rot is affecting them. Here we get some more cinematic establishing shots, some with beautiful environments, and bam! Back to the environments. Cool statue. Cool statue. Is that a space elevator? Very well could be where all those in-orbit shots were taken. And that's everything. What do you think? More or less excited? Is Exodus shaping up to be everything you hoped? Let me know below. I'm covering everything Exodus on this channel and over on X, so be sure to do the typical stuff if you want to see more. Thanks for watching, and until next time, ciao friends.